You're not going to believe this, but there are some insanely rare American muscle cars out there that most people have never even heard of. In this video, I'm going to show you several ultra-exclusive models that are basically one of a kind. Some of these cars are so obscure, you'll be shocked they even exist. So sit tight and get ready to discover some of the rarest and most incredible muscle cars you never knew existed. 1966 Ford Fairlane 500 R code. Total number produced, 57. Now, the first car I want to show you is something truly special. The 1966 Ford Fairlane 500 R code. This thing is an absolute unicorn, because get this, only 57 of these were ever produced. Can you even imagine how rare that is? To put that in perspective, that's less than the number of billionaires in the world. But what made this Fairlane 500 R code so unique? Well, it packed a serious punch under the hood, a 427 cubic inch V8 engine that was race-tuned to pump out over 600 horsepower. That's the kind of power you'd expect in a Le Mans winning race car, not a street-legal muscle car. Just think about how insane it must have been to get behind the wheel of one of these things back in '66. With that much raw power and lightning-fast acceleration, it's no wonder these Fairlanes are legendary among muscle car collectors today. I wonder how many of these 57 cars are still around today. What do you think? Do you reckon most of them have been lost to time, or are there a handful still in amazing condition out there somewhere? Let's have your thoughts in the comments below. I bet you're probably wondering how much one of these ultra-rare Fairlanes would cost if you tried to buy one now. Well, get ready to have your mind blown. The last one that sold at auction went for over $1 million. Can you believe that? 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11. Total number produced, 57. All right, now let's talk about another ultra-rare muscle car, the 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11. Just like the Fairlane 500 R code, only 57 of these Impala Z11s were ever built. That's right, 57. The same almost unbelievably low production number. It's like Chevy and Ford were in a secret race to see who could make the rarest muscle car of all time. So what made the Impala Z11 so special? Well, for starters, it packed a 427 cubic inch V8 engine that was tuned to produce over 560 horsepower. That's the kind of power that would have turned a normal Impala into an absolute monster on the drag strip or the track. Can you imagine being one of the lucky 57 people who got to experience that kind of raw, unbridled power back in 1963? I bet driving one of these Z11s must have felt like controlling a guided missile, just an insane rush of acceleration and adrenaline. In fact, I've heard rumors that some of the original Impala Z11s could hit over 170 miles per hour. Can you even fathom a muscle car from the 60s going that fast? It's mind-blowing to think about, especially when you consider that's around the top speed of some modern supercars. Of course, with such a limited production run, it's no surprise these Impala Z11s are absolute unicorns today. I've seen reports of them selling for well over $1 million at auction. That's a serious investment for a classic Chevy muscle car, but when you consider how rare and special they are, I can't say I'm too shocked. 1967 Dodge Coronet WO23 / Plymouth Belvedere RO2. Total number produced, 55. Okay, get ready for something truly jaw-dropping. The 1967 Dodge Coronet WO23 and its twin, the Plymouth Belvedere RO2. These two muscle car legends are even rarer than the Fairlane and Impala we just covered, with a combined production run of just 55 units. So what made these Dodge and Plymouth models so special? Well, they were part of a secret program by the automakers to create the ultimate, no-holds-barred street racers. Under the hood, they packed a 426 cubic inch Hemi V8 engine that was tuned to pump out an incredible 425 horsepower. That's the kind of power that would leave just about any other muscle car from the era in the dust. Can you imagine the sheer rush of flooring one of these WO23 or RO2 models and feeling that Hemi V8 roar to life? I bet the acceleration must have been absolutely face-melting, even by today's standards. These were the kinds of cars that could smoke the tires for days and still have plenty of power left to hit seriously high top speeds. I wonder how many of these 55 ultra-rare muscle cars are still out there today in the hands of collectors. Given how valuable and sought after they are, I imagine the survivors are probably locked away in private garages, only seeing the light of day at the biggest car shows and auctions. But still, it would be amazing to catch a glimpse of one of these legends in the wild, even just for a moment. 1970 to 1971. Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Total number, produced 55. We've covered some incredibly rare muscle cars so far, but now it's time to talk about one that's in a league of its own. The 1970 to 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. With a total production run of just 55 units, this is one of the rarest and most valuable American muscle cars of all time. This thing was the stuff of legends, packing Chrysler's legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi Fiv 8 engine under the hood. I'm talking about an engine that could crank out over 425 horsepower, more than enough to turn even the most seasoned driver's world upside down. Just imagine flooring the gas pedal and feeling the sheer force of that Hemi motor as it hurls you down the road. What do you think about this car? Let's have your thoughts in the comment below. I wonder how many of those original 55 Hemi Cuda convertibles are still in existence today. Given their astronomical value and prestige, I have to imagine the survivors are locked away in the collections of die-hard Mopar enthusiasts, only seeing the light of day at the biggest car shows and auctions. What I wouldn't give to see one of these rare beauties out on the open road, just roaring down the highway. 1970. Chevrolet Chevelle 454 SS LS6. They only built 20 to 25 of these Chevelle 454 SS LS6s. Can you wrap your head around that? That's less than the number of people who have set foot on the moon. But what made this Chevelle so special, you ask? Well, my friend, under that iconic SS hood was Chevy's legendary 454 cubic inch big block V8, and it was tuned to pump out an insane 450 horsepower. Just imagine flooring the gas pedal and feeling that monster engine roar to life. It must have been an absolute rush. I bet these things could leave just about any other muscle car from the era in the dust. You know, I really wonder how many of those original 20 to 25 Chevelle 454 SS LS6s are still out there today. Given how ridiculously rare and valuable they are, I have to assume the survivors are locked away in the collections of the most hardcore Chevy enthusiasts. I'd love to just catch a glimpse of one of these legends in the flesh, even if it's just for a moment at some exclusive car show. What I wouldn't give to hear that 454 big block rumble to life. 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible, total number, produced 17. Okay, I've got something really special to show you next. The 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible. Now, I know we've covered some unicorns already, but this one might just take the cake. Get this, they only made 17 of these bad boys. 17. That's fewer than the number of people who have won the Nobel Prize. Can you even wrap your head around how rare that is? But what made the GTO Judge Convertible so special, you ask? Well, for starters, it had Pontiac's legendary 455 cubic inch V8 under the hood, and they tuned that sucker to put out 370 horsepower. I mean, can you imagine being one of the lucky 17 people who got to experience that kind of raw, unbridled power back in '71? It must have been an absolute riot to drive one of these things. I bet the acceleration would just pin you back in your seat. I gotta wonder how many of those original 17 GTO Judge convertibles are still out there, all these years later, given how insanely rare and valuable they are. I have to think the survivors are locked away in the collections of the biggest Pontiac diehards. The thought of hearing one of those 455 V8s rumble to life just gives me chills. What I wouldn't give to see one of these legends out on the open road, just tearing it up. 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL-1. Total number, produced 3. All right, listen up, because I'm about to tell you about one of the rarest and most incredible muscle cars ever built. The 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL-1. They only made three of these Corvette ZL-1s. That's right, 3. But what made this Corvette so special, you ask? Well, for starters, it had Chevy's legendary 427 cubic inch all-aluminum V8 engine under the hood. And get this, they tuned that monster to put out 430 horsepower. I don't care how experienced of a driver you are, that kind of power is going to throw you for a loop. I gotta wonder how many of those original 3 Corvette ZL-1s are still out there today. Given how ridiculously rare and valuable they are, I can only imagine the survivors are locked away in the collections of the biggest Corvette fanatics. 1967 to 1970, Dodge Coronet RT426, Hemi Convertible, total number, produced 2 per model year. We're talking about the 1967 and 1970 Dodge Coronet RT426 Hemi Convertibles. Only made 2 of these Hemi-powered Coronet convertibles per model year. That's it, just 2, less than the number of Nobel Prizes awarded annually. Can you even begin to wrap your head around how insanely rare and valuable these things must be? What made the Coronet RT426 Hemi Convertible so special, you ask? Well, my friend, it had Chrysler's legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi V8 under the hood, and they tuned that beast to put out 425 horsepower. I bet flooring the gas in one of these things must have felt like igniting a freaking rocket. The kind of raw, unbridled power that would leave even the most experienced driver white-knuckled and grinning from ear to ear. You know, I really wonder how many of these ultra-rare Hemi Coronet convertibles have managed to survive all these years. 1967, Shelby Cobra Super Snake, total number, produced 2. All right, listen up, because I'm about to tell you about the most insane, most legendary muscle car ever built, the 1967 Shelby Cobra Super Snake. Only made 2 of these Cobra Super Snakes. That's it, just 2. Can you even begin to fathom how valuable and sought after one of these bad boys must be? My friends, it had a 427 cubic inch V8 engine under the hood, and they tuned that beast to pump out over 800 horsepower. 1967, Shelby Mustang GT 500 Super Snake, total number produced 1. Okay, get ready for something truly mind-blowing. The 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500 Super Snake. This is the holy grail of American muscle cars, my friends. There was only one of these Shelby Super Snakes ever produced. That's right, just a single solitary example. Why is the Shelby GT 500 Super Snake so special? Well, for starters, it packed a 427 cubic inch V8 engine that was tuned to pump out over 600 horsepower. That's the kind of raw, unbridled power that could turn even the most experienced driver's world upside down. I wonder how this lone surviving Shelby GT 500 Super Snake has managed to endure over the decades. Given its astronomical value and prestige, I have to imagine it's locked away in the collection of a hardcore Mustang enthusiast, only seeing the light of day at the biggest and most exclusive car shows and auctions. The thought of hearing that 427 V8 rumble to life just gives me chills. What I wouldn't give for even a fleeting glimpse of this ultimate muscle car unicorn. What do you think about these rare muscle cars? Let's have your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for staying till the end, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.